Okay guys, we're going to take a look at Western expansion and how the United States becomes larger in the western portion here. Okay, so first off, Oregon. And hopefully you weren't deprived as a child and not played Oregon Trail. So how do we obtain Oregon country? Okay, here's a map of Oregon and what's modern day British Columbia, Canada, and Washington State, Oregon, and Idaho. Alright. And this was, at the time, disputed land between the United States and Great Britain. Okay, today the Oregon country includes Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and parts of Wyoming and British Columbia, Canada. There we are today. And here is the dispute. The United States, Great Britain, Spain, and Russia all claimed Oregon. Eventually, Spain and Russia dropped their claims, and the U.S. and Great Britain agreed to share the land. Alright, so the original campaign for James K. Polk as president was 54-40 or fight. And we'll go to war if we don't get this territory. But we end up not going to war with Great Britain and drawing the treaty boundary here, just following the 49th parallel going across to the Pacific. Okay, so attracted by open land and excellent soil, thousands of people began to travel the Oregon Trail by 1843. So a lot of them would start in Missouri or the Midwest and travel across the Oregon Trail through the Rocky Mountains and out into Oregon Territory. Travelers had to cover 2,000 miles on foot in 5 months. Okay, here's immigrant Peter Burnett. Says the ox is the most notable animal. Patient, thrifty, durable, gentle, and does not run off. Those who come to this country will be in love with their oxen. The ox will plunge through the mud, swim over streams, dive into thickets, and he will eat almost anything. We had to risk our lives in roping them. After being kicked across the pen some half-dozen times and run over as often, we at last succeeded in leading them out. It was laughable. This is talking about our donkeys. Alright, what perverse brutes those mules are. The beast, oh how I hate them. Okay, wagon trails were used by travelers and people who worked together. So women prepared food and men cared for wagons and horses. Dry bread and bacon consisted of our breakfast, lunch, and supper. The bacon we cooked when we could obtain wood for fire, but when there was nothing but green grass could be seen, we ate our bacon without cooking it. This is the Oregon Trail in 1900, and this is how it appears today near Boise, Idaho. Alright, people frequently traded with the Native Americans. Okay, the buffalo extended the whole length of the afternoon's travel, not in the hundreds, but in a solid phalanx. I estimated 2 million. We saw them in frightful droves as far as the eye could reach, appearing at a distance as if the ground itself was moving like the seas. There's so many buffalo out west. Oops. Okay, the valley of was 200 miles dotted with skeletons and buffalo, which of a waste of creatures of God had made for men seemed wicked, but every immigrant seemed to wish to signalize himself by killing a buffalo. So the buffalo were killed in the droves and almost hunted to extinction. And this really affected how the Native Americans would be able to survive off the land. They depended on the buffalo. Those are buffalo hides. Also running into problems coming out west. Weather included heat in the summer and snow in the mountains. Sickness, especially cholera, and fatigue. Here are some graves. We camped at a place where a woman had been buried and the wolves dug her up. Her hair was there with a comb still in it. She had been buried too shallow. It seems a dreadful fate, but that is the difference. But what is the difference? One cannot feel after the spirit has flown. A little boy fell over the front end of the wagon during our journey, and in his case, the great wheels rolled over the child's head, crushing it to pieces. But between 1840 and 1860, over 50,000 people reached Oregon, And we did talk about the Donner Party and how they resulted in cannibalism.